was the world premiere of the West Side Winds. They were playing Rondeau from The Fairy Queen by Henry Purcell. And now, for our call to community, we're going to be singing a Taizé song called La Ténèbre. You're welcome to sing in French or English. We'll be singing English. And the recorder group is going to go through a couple times, and then we'll start singing, and as you feel comfortable, please join in.
Good morning, everyone. We did it. We made it through the longest night of the year. Hooray. We have arrived at the threshold of winter. Let us linger a little while here. Let us not rush out of the dark too quickly. Here in the shadow of the world, darkness welcomes us home. There is a special luminous quality here, a sweetness. The darkness, too, belongs in our world and in our hearts. Yes, let us rest here just a little while longer. Come and let us worship together. And as we begin our service, let us take this moment to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional land of the Duwamish people, stewards of this land in the past and the present. With humility and gratitude, we honor this land and the Duwamish tribe and commit to our role in the story of repair of our relationship with this land and its people. Whoever you are, wherever you have come from, whatever the color of your skin, whoever and however you love, however your body moves or your brain works, however you identify, you are welcome in this faith community. Our Unitarian Universalist tradition has no creed or oath to swear. We have instead the promises we make to one another, commitments we make to healing a hurting world within and beyond our walls. Welcome, everyone.
And now let's take a moment to light our chalice. Our chalice lighter today is Tracy Burrows. Would you please come forward? Oh, has she brought a crew? Yeah. Oh. Our chalice sliding words this morning come from Sharon Wiley. As we gather this solstice day, in honor of ancient traditions that celebrate this time of longest night, we observe that the flaming chalice holds the elements of the four directions: earth, air, fire, water. The air that feeds the flame, the lamp oil for the earth, the fire we light, and the chalice itself, the cup, the symbol of water. We light our chalice and reflect on the light we need to guide us through hard times. The light of our shared faith, the light of loving community, the light of love, joy, and hope. Now, as Tracy already lit our flame, please join me in speaking the words of our congregation's affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, thus to be covenant with one another. Oh, I wish I had a crew like that. Well, welcome to the Westside Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Steve Burrows, a member of the worship team, and it's a great joy to be gathering with you for this service on the theme of the day we have been given, a solstice service. If you're with us for the first time, or the first time in a while, welcome, and I'm glad to see the people behind the podium from where I'm sitting, because there's a lot more people than from right there. We're so glad you're here, both here in the sanctuary and joining online, to make some space in your life, to attend to your heart and your spirit, to come together in community. Please visit our website, which you can do by scanning the QR code and the card in the pews, where you can fill out a welcome form so we can get to know you better and send you our weekly electronic newsletter, The Westside Week. It is good to see familiar and new faces today, lots of new faces and small people too. Cool. Let us take a few moments to greet our neighbors around us.
All weather is good weather. All weather is good weather, yes.
As always, it's good to feel the power. It is good to see such enthusiastic greetings. We hope you continue these conversations after our service at coffee hour right downstairs. Each week, congregants who light our chalice are given a chance to respond to a question. This is a chance for us to get to know them better and to invite more voices into our chancel. Tracy Burrows has been asked to offer a piece of poetry that is meaningful to her.
Thank you, Steve. My poem is called Winter Light. It's by Irina Klepfish. And Irina Klepfish immigrated to the United States with her mother in 1949 when she was 8 years old and settled in the Bronx. She is a lesbian poet, essayist, political activist, Yiddishist, and a practicing secular Jew. Winter Light. Almost December. Indifferent to seasons, the marigolds persist. I'm surprised by their pluck and lack of propriety, their ability to ignore the inappropriate, a rusted, leaking window box, a shaky fire escape leading to the cemented street below. They do not mourn that all good things must come to an end and accept that end as fate or destiny. Instead, without struggle or assessment of soil, moisture, heat, air, they continue blooming in a chilling winter light exactly as they did all summer. I chose this poem because it is about irrepressible and wildly improbable hope in dark times. It reminds me of my son and my daughter-in-law, Rachel, who took a tremendous leap of imagination in deciding to bring a child into this world. And the poem captures the essence of Hannah, my granddaughter, who at 9 months old has no sense of propriety, nothing inhibiting her joy, even as the days have grown short and darkness is swift upon us. Irina Klepfish, the poet, was born in the Warsaw Ghetto in 1941. In 1943, when she was just barely 2 years old, her father was killed on the second day of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. She survived the Holocaust in hiding, partly in an orphanage and partly with her mother. My granddaughter, Hannah's great-grandmother, Hilda, this is Rachel's grandmother, was also a Holocaust survivor, and she lost most of her family in Auschwitz. Both these family histories connect to the marigolds in the poem. Survivors do not accept the end as fate or destiny, but continue to bloom in harsh, unforgiving environments. And this should give us all hope. Today, we are making a great turn towards the light. Let's follow it against all odds and celebrate the hope that new life brings.
Our first hymn today is hymn number 73, Chant for the Seasons. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing along.
Thank you, Rainier Reunion. It is now our time for all ages. The Reverend Katie Lawson will be sharing this morning about what the solstice is and what it means for us humans. Anyone of any ages who wish to see or hear our storyteller better, please come down to sit on the floor or in the front pews. And please note, before the children go back to their classes, we will be sharing a special ritual with everyone. So we'll have folks go back to their seats after the Reverend Katie shares her story.
Let's make sure. Oh, I am green. Come on up. Oh, yay, storm the castle. Storm the castle. See if you can take me down. Oh, good to see you. All right. So this is a really special and magical time of year. And I thought today, solstice is special enough and magical enough that I just thought we'd talk about why it happens. One of the most magical things for me about solstice is that it reminds us, even when we have our cars and we're in our buildings, you cannot ignore when you step out of your house that you live in the natural world. Because you're like, whoa, it's dark. I got no control over that. It's dark. And so I love solstice for that reason. Anyway, so what I'm going to need first for solstice, sol meaning sun, I need a sun, somebody who feels like they can bring warmth and light into the universe. No pressure. This role is really easy. You just basically stand there. Oh, come on, Laura. And you have to bring life-giving force to all creatures on earth. Can you do that? Okay. All right. Look at her. Woo! Nice. Oh, gosh. Now, Nora, I'm going to position you. I'm going to put you over here. Look at, oops, wait. Your hair is really long. I might have envisioned a slightly taller sun. Here. Okay. We're going to put it behind you like it's your long flowing hair. Okay, go this way. Okay, you stand here. Okay, radiate. Okay, now, the other thing we're gonna need is an earth. I didn't have a great costume for that. Totally envisioned one of those big bubble suits, but church budget. So, what I'm gonna need is somebody who is feels like they can walk a little bit. Come on, even a grown-up. Oh, for goodness, don't make me okay, here we go, come on up. Either one of you. You both look great. Okay, so hold the earth. All right. So, you have the earth. It spins once. What does that make? 1 day. Okay, you ready to go on a walk? Okay, here you go. Hoonga, 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 walking, walking. Okay, all the way around. They're going all the way around, all the way around. What did that make? All right. What makes the seasons? This is the craziest part. Axial tilt. I know, I should have checked to make sure there were no astrophysicists or astronomers because, you're dealing with a 6th grade teacher here. Okay. Axial tilt, indeed. So we're going to tilt. We could just tilt you. That would be fun. Oh, but wait, something special. Where's Seattle? There you go. Okay. All right, that's gonna help us, right? Okay, so, axial tilt. Wait, do I have it tilted the right way? Yep. Astrophysicist? Oh, okay, just someone who's done their homework. Okay, no, I have to. Okay, here we go. All right, so now watch this. Watch this. Go ahead and, here, can you go a little lower because the sun's a little low? Here we go, and we're gonna put Seattle is facing the sun, say. Okay, now, it's visually hard, there we go. Now, when the earth is here, do you see how the sun, I'm gonna pack you up. If its rays, if it's not standing on its rays, if its rays are coming out like this, and Seattle, it's hard to see. Maybe what we need to do is move you, Nora, we're going to move the sun over here and have you stand like this. Okay, and then we come here, and the earth is going to be over here. There we go. And do you see how it's slightly tilted away? Even more. There you go. And so the sun doesn't have a good direct angle on it, you know? And it's low in the sky. It's way down here. Well, you got to be a little higher. There you go. It's low in the sky, and so the sun rays don't quite hit it quite right, and we have a short day. Now, let's go and do summer. Come around. Here you go, Earth. You didn't know this was going to be such hard work. Come around over here. Now it's summertime. And look at the rays are hitting directly on the Earth. And for a much longer time, when the sun's been, the rays just keep getting there. Now, that's my slightly non-scientific explanation for the sun, for the solstice. But it all depends on tilt. It may have worked better if we had tilted you. Yeah. So you made a radiant sun. Here's the other thing. So on the solstice, this is my challenge to you. You get to act like a wild creature. You are a creature of nature. You get to be a little sleepy and move slowly because it's winter. You get to eat voraciously because you have to keep warm. These are the things we do on the solstice. And then you get to be slightly excited as you feel warmth and light return. Fair enough? All right. Apologies to all the astrophysicists and astronomers. It was a little rough. All right. So I'm going to invite you all to return to your seats because Reverend Carter has something really special planned for you. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Katie. Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Jill, for that lovely demonstration. So, anyone, as people go back to their seats, we have a ritual that we will all do together. We begin with a reading by Wendy Bartell and Lynn Gardner.
As we gather on this longest night in the northern hemisphere on this beautiful planet Earth, let us abide in the wonder and mystery. What was it like so many millennia ago when the days grew shorter and the nights grew longer and often colder, and people did not understand why? Were they afraid? Many stories suggest that they were. How would they survive? Would the animals and the plants upon which they depended for their own survival die?
In the early days of our human species, I wonder what else they felt and what history they passed to their children. What meaning did they make of the growing darkness? Did they gather around the fire and tell the stories of their people? Did they overhunt or overharvest for fear this was the beginning of the end? Did their spiritual leaders suggest they just needed to make more offerings to the gods of their understanding, to implore those gods to please bring back the sun?
And then, what did they do when they realized that the days were finally getting longer? Was there confusion, relief, jubilation? It is, of course, also possible they welcomed the growing darkness. Maybe they were glad to have a bit more downtime from hunting and gathering, and instead settle into the gifts of the darkness, rest and reflection, connection and devotion. We cannot know for sure.
At this time of year, we often gather to tell stories, both ancient and new. We offer one another gifts, and we participate in rituals like this one, as we arrive in the winter with hope to find our way towards spring.
We need not rush out of the dark, though. Many messages in our culture devalue the dark and teach us to fear. Our language often conveys that darkness is dangerous. Monsters are in the dark. Bad things happen in dark alleys. And yet, so much relies on the dark. The gestation of new life, including our own decomposition that nourishes the soil. The practice of hibernation, or going within, that allows us to heal, regenerate, and recover so we can be ready for what will come.
And we often associate light with goodness, with the divine. The sun's warmth and light help plants to grow. This is divine. Light helps many of us to do our daily tasks, and yet too much light is exhausting, not good for us. Both are true. There is something joyful as the earth orbits the sun, and the birds begin to return, and the days grow longer, and we see new life growing. There is a joy in the first crocus pushing through the snow. But let us not rush toward the light.
We need both darkness and light to thrive, and the seasons help us feel the cycles of life and death and rebirth all around us. Let us take some quiet time to just slow down in this moment. Can you notice your breath moving in and out of you? It ebbs and flows as gently and naturally as the seasons of change. In this time of quiet, let us interpret false narratives that degenerate the darkness and declare our appreciation of the dark and of the sweet time it allows for reflection, renewal, and nourishment. And as we kindle fires and light candles in this dark, we celebrate the light with joy too.
We will now offer one another a blessing of nourishment to remind us of the sweetness of the dark and the light. We have plates of chocolate and oranges. Those of you sitting close to the center aisle may see. And I encourage you to share with your neighbors. There will definitely be enough for everyone, but it might not be perfectly the right number per pew. So you can go ahead and take those off and offer to your neighbor. And you may decline either if it is not right for you. Steve, do you want to start passing to our neighbors up here?
I'd love to.
When you take these sweets in your hand, try to feel it with all your senses. Feel them in your fingers. Let their fragrance reach your nose. Everyone's doing a great job. And take a bite when you're ready. First, the dark chocolate with all its delicious complexity and the brightness of the orange. For those of you joining from home, you may want to pause now to find something sweet on hand that can offer you the same symbolism. What is something that reminds you of the sweetness of the season? Or maybe you want to wait and get a chocolate and orange of your own. Everyone's doing such a great job. And you can place the plates back under the pews. We will find them later. As we share this blessing of nourishment with one another, we now affirm, may the darkness bring sweetness, may the light bring joy. And now that we have shared in this blessing, we will sing our children out to their classes.
Hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go.
In a moment, we will engage in a collective act of generosity known as our offering, when we take time to actively support Westside UU congregation and its many ministries with our gifts by text, cash, or check. Each month, we choose a community organization to share 1/3 of our undesignated offering gifts. That is, those donations not designated by your pledge contributions. For the month of December, our community giving recipient is Aachen. Children's Home Society of Washington and Child Haven have merged to become Aachen. Aachen works to disrupt systemic and multi-generational cycles of inequity by partnering with children, families, and communities to transform health and well-being. Our comprehensive spectrum of services help connect families with the resources to fit their needs. You can give by text by sending a message with the $sign and the amount you want to give to the number on the screen. For folks here in the sanctuary who prefer to share your gifts by cash or check, the greeters will move among us shortly. If you'd like your gift to be recorded as coming from you, please use one of the envelopes in the pews. And now please enjoy this gift of music, Gavotte, from Symphony No. 1 in C major by the WSUU Recorder Ensemble.
Thank you all for your gifts that minister to the needs of this congregation. It is greatly appreciated. And thank you, musicians, for your gift. During each of our services, we like to take a moment to make collective space for holding the joys and the sorrows of this community. As a reminder, if you have a joy or sorrow that you would like shared from this pulpit or with me, you can find a form to submit that in our newsletter. Hold in our hearts all the joys and sorrows, both known and unknown, in our community. Let us lift each other up in love, as well as our neighbors in the wider human community. Now let us join in our song response, There is a Love.
These words are from Carrie Kopnick. The sound of rain, not cheerful songs. A quiet rocking chair, not traditions of the season. The early sunset, not dancing lights. Loss, tender heart, hollow soul, heavy days. Grief is welcome, a sacred part of this mourning, of the bereft, of the weeping. Amidst the celebrating, this too belongs. This too is holy. It binds us to our ancestors, the earth, the stars. And yet still, a steaming mug of tea warms the belly. The dog wags its tail and the cat purrs. There are laughter and tears, sometimes both, besides the joy. This too belongs. Sharing human suffering is connection. Hearts like stones are held by all that is. Grief and light intertwined. This too belongs.
Night goes back to where it was. Everyone returns home sometime. Night goes back to where it was. Everyone returns home sometime. Night, when you get there, tell them how I love you. Night, when you get there, tell them how I love you. Night goes back to where it was. Everyone returns home sometime. Night goes back to where it was. Everyone returns home sometime. Night, when you get there, tell them how I love you. Night, when you get there, tell them how I love you. Night goes back to where it was. Everyone returns home sometime. Night goes back to where it was. Everyone returns home sometime. Night, when you get there, tell them how I love you. Night, when you get there, tell them how I love you. Night goes back to
grief and light intertwined, this too belongs. Yesterday at 2:04 p.m., I had just gotten back to my apartment after running errands in the pouring rain. I changed into dry clothes and fixed myself a cup of tea, and the sun came out for the first time all day. It was beautiful. The light sparkled on every raindrop, on my window, on the pavement, on the sides of my neighbors' houses, and the big fir tree swayed in the wind, casting dancing shadows on the wall. Just as the clouds rolled on overhead, the soggy moss lining the alleyway glistened, and I could see crows flitting around a cedar tree in the distance. By 2:09, the patch of sunlight faded, but the day stayed gloriously lush and alive. And half an hour after that, the rain was back, and water poured down my window, the outside becoming white. Somehow, this too was luminous and soothing. It was a beautiful day. The thing is, it has taken me a long time to appreciate these winter days around here. I come from a place where we have fairly predictable seasons most of the year, spring, summer, and fall. But in North Carolina, where I'm from, the winter is this time where we rapidly cycle through all the seasons in quick succession. And so sometimes it's snowy, sometimes it's 70 degrees and you can have a cookout on Christmas. But if the weather was gray or wet or chilly, we knew that we just had to wait a couple of days and just get through it. It was this dreary thing to trudge through and not pay much attention to. We could ignore it. But now that I have arrived in the Pacific Northwest, this is my fourth winter here, and I think I'm finally starting to get it a little bit. Here, the chill gray wet is steady and dependable, something to rest into and get comfortable with. There is no use in just trying to get it over with. There is something romantic even about getting outside, even in the cold and the damp, and feeling a part of this world that is not sunny and bright, but is still so alive. The days are dim and the nights are long, but time hasn't stopped. We must not suffer. Sure, the patches of sunlight are amazing, even if they only last for 5 minutes, and all the rest of the minutes are able to shimmer in their own way too. We are called in this season to make peace with the darkness, not while away our time trying to cling to the brief moments of light. As we acknowledged in our ritual earlier, the dark has a sweetness to it that our culture often forgets to pay attention to. Thank you all for sharing in that time. I hope we get some multi-sensory worship memories today. I was once a part of a different church that also loved to celebrate the solstice. They would have this beautiful service exploring the dark and our connection to nature in this time of year. And then they would end with this really powerful unison chant where they would yell and shout and declare the dark officially banished. It was dramatic and cathartic, and maybe another day we will get to yell in church. I'm not against that. But the message behind it just didn't quite feel right to me. How strange to lovingly welcome the dark as a spiritual teacher at the beginning of the hour, and then to cast it out with force not so much longer later. No, I think that the real invitation of the winter solstice is to practice not casting out the dark. To fully inhabit this world means to make a home even in the times that challenge us. To lean into the wholeness of life, we are invited to engage with the dark around us, and perhaps the dark within ourselves. In psychology, this looking at the dark within ourselves is called shadow work. It's a mindfulness practice of noticing the parts of ourselves that we have learned to banish, to hide away. It's a cornerstone of Jungian analysis, which asserts that we have all these different parts inside us that demand to be noticed and treated with care. The goal is to build that awareness of the ways that we try to constrain ourselves to fit the standards that we were taught would keep us safe. Instead of rejecting these parts, shadow work encourages us to welcome them, to acknowledge their presence, and let them teach us about our true selves. For example, many of us in this culture were taught that anger is a bad thing. And so we go through our lives trying to convince ourselves that we are only good if we can stay calm and composed all of the time. When we do experience frustration or irritation, we push it down, or if some of it slips out, we might feel out of control or overcome with shame because we are not perfectly good. If we see other people expressing anger around us, even if it's in healthy ways, we might become overly defensive or judgmental or really have a hard time being around that as we project our own shadow onto them. This is just one example for you. You might have a great relationship with anger, but there might be other qualities that you were taught to contain if you are to stay safe and good. What were those qualities you were taught to shun, even if they are just a part of being human? Those parts of ourselves that we banish are often the parts of ourselves that most need and most demand our love and attention. It's like trying to yell and shout to banish the dark. It might feel cathartic, like we're claiming control over this thing that scares us, but however much we shout into the night, the morning isn't going to come any sooner. No matter how much we punish ourselves, constrain ourselves, we are still ourselves. And the long nights of winter will gradually ease into summer and spring, and so these shadow parts don't need to be the whole story. But it has nothing to do with what we label as bad or good. The world is defined by cycles and seasons as we do this spiral dance around the sun. And we humans are of this world. We are a part of it all, whether we like how things are going or not, whether we make peace with all of ourselves or not. So I have this deck of cards called Letting Your Shadow In that has gotten me thinking about this topic. It is full of mindfulness exercises, reflection prompts, affirmations. It's got some really beautiful art. Just wanted to share with you all. I turn to it in times when I am struggling with feelings like disconnection or shame, and it's a way to help me increase self-compassion without trying to just ignore what I'm dealing with. In honor of the winter solstice, maybe we can all take some quiet time in the coming weeks to reflect on the dark things we try to banish in ourselves and others. We can notice the things we were taught to feel shame about and the way that shame leads us to hide away. Amidst all of the family and social pressures of the holiday season, I hope we can be kind about the times when we don't live up to our aspirations. This is a time when a lot of people don't live up to their aspirations, and that's okay. Where are the ways that we push ourselves too hard? What are the things in ourselves that we try not to engage too directly with? How much of our energy are we spending pushing ourselves, avoiding ourselves, trying to hold it all together so that others will see this great person? What if we spent that energy doing other things? We might be more powerful. If you are sitting deeply with these questions now or some quiet time later with yourself or a trusted friend, notice how your nervous system feels and reach for the things that most ground you. Offer yourself appreciation for the difficult experiences you've had in this life and appreciation for all the ways that you have navigated those experiences and learned to get by. There is wisdom there, even if that doesn't serve you anymore. Take this as an offering, not a command, like a small piece of dark chocolate. This season gives us a nudge to engage more holistically with the world and with ourselves. It is not about stewing in negativity, but letting the beautiful complexity of life be honored for what it is. It's important work because so many of us have been taught to spend our energy straining within ourselves to be completely good, or to convince ourselves or others that we are completely good, even if we know that's not true. In the words of Vajrayana Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron, the most difficult times in life for many of us are the ones we give ourselves. When we resist what is happening, when we don't want the moment we are in, we make it much more difficult. It's like fighting with the dark. I hope you understand that I don't want us to fight with the dark. The dark can be this place of soft welcome. These long nights that seem to go on for far too many months demand that we learn to get cozy within them anyway. This is a season when we learn to revel in the brief, luminous moments of sunshine between the rain, or when we look at the lights hung all around us. When we learn the holiness of the dark, we can also better appreciate the preciousness of the light. This is true within us too. If we can recognize and honor the parts of ourselves that we are not proud of, we can feel that the parts of ourselves that we are proud of, that shine most brightly, are more true and precious. They're not just this facade to hide a shameful shadow. It's all true. It's all us. No, light and shadow are the rhythms of the world. There is grace in all of it. And let us know here that we have community to hold us in this journey. Many of us know that in this space we do not always bring our most perfect, shiny selves. As others embrace our imperfect selves, so too can we hold that space for ourselves and for others. Let us be comforted by this. May we know that our shadows are not something we bear alone. Let me close with a passage from the writer Joyce Rupp. She writes, "This year, I do not want the dark to leave me. I need its wrap of silent stillness, its cloak of long-lasting embrace. Too much light has pulled me away from the chamber of gestation. Let the dawns come late, let the sunsets arrive early. Let the evenings extend themselves while I lean into the abyss of my being. Let me lie in the cave of my soul, for too much light steals the source of revelation. Let me seek solace in the empty places of winter's passage, those vast dark nights that never fail to shelter me." Amen. This is my blessing to you all.
We invite you to rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn, number 55, Dark of Winter.
It takes a village to run a service. I'd like to give our thanks to the Rainier Reunion and our instrumentalists, and then there's numerous soloists, and Reverend Carter, Reverend Katie Lawson, and then of course our new recorder ensemble. Weren't they amazing? Tracy Burrows, Nate and Henry up in the tech booth, and our ushers and hospitality.
One last time, let us rise in body or spirit. May the love that is present in this room surround you. May you see with soft eyes the interconnected web of existence of which we are all a part. May the coming of the light fill your spirit and guide you as we leave this space. And now I will invite Tracy forward to release our flame. As she does so, may you go into this week blessed and blessing the world. We hold you in our love as you go.